The Hermes Birkin proves that luxury isn't just about craftsmanship, it's about scarcity. By limiting supply and controlling who gets to buy one, Hermes has turned a handbag into a global status symbol and a thriving investment asset. The real value isn't just in the leather or the stitching, it's in the exclusivity the brand has carefully created. Today, we explored how the Hermes Birkin became one of the world's most valuable luxury products. Not because of what it's made of, but because of the scarcity and exclusivity built around it. The biggest lesson? The world's most successful companies don't always sell the best products, they sell the strongest stories. In Hermes' case, that story has made a handbag worth tens of thousands of dollars and fueled a resale market that has, at times, outperformed traditional investments. I'm Dr. Bush, and this is Modern Magnets. If you enjoyed this business breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. The real product Hermes sells. When most people think of Hermes, they think of one of the world's most luxurious handbags. But after exploring the story behind the Birkin, it's clear that Hermes is selling much more than leather and craftsmanship. The company has built its success on exclusivity. By carefully limiting production, controlling availability, and making customers earn the opportunity to purchase a Birkin, Hermes transformed a simple handbag into one of the most desirable luxury products in the world. The true value of the Birkin doesn't come from the materials alone. It comes from the rarity, prestige, and status that surround it. The biggest business lesson. The Birkin teaches us that the world's most successful companies don't always win by making the most products. Instead, they create something people deeply desire. Hermes understood that scarcity creates demand, and demand creates value. By producing fewer bags than the market wants, the company turned exclusivity into one of its greatest competitive advantages. It's a strategy that has helped protect the brand's prestige for decades while keeping customers willing to pay extraordinary prices. More than just a handbag. Today, we explored how a handbag became a global luxury icon, how manufactured scarcity drives demand, and why the Birkin has become more than a fashion accessory. For many buyers, it's a status symbol, a collectible, and even an investment. The story of the Birkin reminds us that the most valuable products aren't always the most expensive to make. They're the ones backed by the strongest brand, the most compelling story, and the greatest sense of exclusivity. Why the Birkin story matters. The story of the Hermes Birkin isn't just about luxury fashion. It's about understanding how some of the world's most successful businesses create extraordinary value. While most companies compete by lowering prices or producing more products, Hermes chose a completely different path. It proved that limiting supply, protecting a brand's image, and creating emotional value can be far more profitable than simply increasing sales. This strategy has kept the Birkin desirable for decades and made Hermes one of the strongest luxury brands in the world. A lesson beyond luxury. Whether you're an entrepreneur, an investor, or simply a curious consumer, the Birkin offers an important lesson. People don't always buy products because of what they are. They buy them because of what they represent. In today's world, branding, storytelling, and exclusivity can be just as valuable as quality or functionality. The companies that understand human psychology often create products that customers don't just want, they aspire to own. Looking beyond the price tag. The next time you hear about a Birkin selling for tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars, don't just focus on the price. Think about the strategy behind it. Think about the years of brand building, the carefully controlled supply, the exclusivity, and the global demand that turned a simple handbag into a cultural icon. Once you understand the business behind the Birkin, you realize you're not looking at an overpriced bag. You're looking at one of the greatest marketing and branding success stories ever created. The legacy of the Birkin. Decades after its creation, the Hermes Birkin remains one of the most sought-after luxury items in the world. Trends in fashion come and go, but the Birkin has continued to hold its status across generations. While countless handbags have entered the market, very few have matched its influence, prestige, or long-term value. Its success shows that true luxury isn't built overnight. It's created through consistency, heritage, and a brand that refuses to compromise its identity. The future of luxury. As technology changes the way people shop and new luxury brands emerge, the Birkin continues to stand apart. In a world where almost anything can be ordered with a single click, Hermes has made waiting part of the experience. That patience, combined with rarity and craftsmanship, keeps the Birkin relevant even in the digital age. It proves that in luxury, being difficult to obtain can be more valuable than being easy to buy. The psychology that keeps the Birkin on top. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Hermes Birkin is that its success isn't driven by advertising alone. It's driven by human psychology. People naturally place a higher value on things that are difficult to obtain. Psychologists call this the scarcity principle, where limited availability increases perceived value. Hermes has mastered this principle better than almost any luxury brand. Instead of flooding the market with handbags, the company carefully controls production and distribution, ensuring that demand always exceeds supply. The result is a product that becomes even more desirable simply because it's hard to get. This scarcity creates a powerful cycle. The fewer bags available, the more people talk about them. The more people talk about them, the greater the demand becomes. Increased demand drives higher resale prices, which attracts collectors and investors. Those rising prices create even more media attention, making the Birkin even more desirable. It's a self-reinforcing system where exclusivity fuels demand, and demand strengthens exclusivity. The power of brand loyalty. Hermes has also built one of the strongest customer relationships in the luxury industry. Many buyers don't walk into a boutique expecting to purchase only a Birkin. Instead, they gradually become part of the Hermes ecosystem, purchasing scarves, belts, shoes, jewelry, watches, and ready-to-wear collections over time. This creates long-term customer loyalty while strengthening the company's overall business. Even customers who never receive a Birkin invitation often continue buying other Hermes products because they admire the brand's craftsmanship and heritage. This strategy benefits Hermes in two ways. First, it generates billions of dollars in sales across multiple product categories. Second, it makes the Birkin even more exclusive because customers know that owning one often requires patience, persistence, and an established relationship with the brand. Whether or not a customer ultimately receives a Birkin offer, the brand has already strengthened its connection with them. Can any brand repeat this success? Many luxury brands have tried to copy the Birkin's formula by introducing limited editions, waiting lists, or exclusive collections. However, very few have achieved the same level of success. That's because scarcity alone isn't enough. A company must first build decades of trust, craftsmanship, heritage, and consistent quality before customers accept limited availability as a sign of prestige rather than poor service. Hermes spent nearly 2 centuries building its reputation before the Birkin became a global phenomenon. Every generation strengthened the brand's image through craftsmanship, attention to detail, and timeless design. The Birkin's exclusivity works because customers already believe in the value of the Hermes name. Without that foundation, limiting supply would simply frustrate customers rather than increase demand. The ultimate business lesson. The story of the Hermes Birkin offers one of the most important lessons in modern business. Success isn't always about producing more, lowering prices, or reaching the largest number of customers. Sometimes creating something rare, protecting its value, and building a powerful brand can generate far greater long-term success. Hermes understood that products can be copied, but reputation cannot. Leather, stitching, and hardware can all be replicated by competitors, but decades of trust, exclusivity, and customer desire are far more difficult to duplicate. That's why the Birkin continues to dominate the luxury world after more than 40 years. It isn't just a handbag, it's a masterclass in branding, marketing, consumer psychology, and business strategy. By the end of this journey, one thing becomes clear. Hermes never simply sold a handbag. It sold a dream, and millions of people around the world are still willing to pay almost any price to own a piece of it. The Birkin in the digital age. In today's world, where almost anything can be purchased online with a few clicks, the Hermes Birkin remains an exception. You can buy a luxury watch, a sports car, or even a private jet online, but buying a Birkin is still intentionally complicated. Hermes has resisted turning the Birkin into a simple e-commerce product because convenience would reduce its exclusivity. Instead, the company continues to emphasize personal relationships, in-store experiences, and limited availability. In an age of instant gratification, Hermes has made patience part of the luxury experience. This strategy has become even more powerful in the era of social media. Every time a celebrity reveals a rare Birkin or a collector shares an exclusive piece online, millions of people are reminded of how difficult the bag is to obtain. Social media acts as free advertising, creating global desire without Hermes needing to aggressively promote the product. Every viral photo, auction record, or influencer video reinforces the Birkin's reputation as the handbag everyone wants but very few can own. The risks behind the luxury strategy. Although the Birkin has become one of the most successful luxury products ever created, no business strategy is completely risk-free. Consumer preferences can change, economic downturns can reduce luxury spending, and younger generations may value experiences over expensive possessions. Counterfeit products also remain a challenge, with fake Birkin bags flooding markets around the world. These imitations attempt to copy the appearance of the original, but they can never replicate the exclusivity, heritage, and trust that Hermes has built over nearly 2 centuries. Another challenge is maintaining the perfect balance between supply and demand. If Hermes were to produce too many Birkin bags, exclusivity could weaken and resale prices might fall. On the other hand, making the bags too difficult to obtain could frustrate loyal customers and push them toward competing luxury brands. Maintaining that balance requires careful planning, and it is one of the reasons the company continues to control production so closely. The cost of owning a Birkin. Buying a Birkin is only the beginning of the journey. Owners often spend thousands of dollars maintaining their bags to preserve their value. Luxury leather requires professional care, proper storage, and protection from moisture, sunlight, and scratches. Some collectors even insure their Birkins because rare models can be worth as much as a luxury car or a house. A well-maintained Birkin can retain its value for decades, while a damaged one may lose a significant portion of its resale price. This means owning a Birkin is less like owning an ordinary handbag and more like caring for a valuable piece of art. The rise of professional Birkin collectors. Not everyone buys a Birkin to carry it. Around the world, a growing number of collectors purchase these bags purely as investments. Some own dozens or even hundreds of Birkins, storing them in climate-controlled rooms and rarely using them. These collectors closely follow auction results, monitor market demand, and search for rare colors, limited editions, and exotic leathers. Just as art collectors search for valuable paintings, Birkin collectors search for handbags that could become even more valuable in the future. This has created an entirely new market where handbags are treated as investment assets rather than fashion accessories. How auctions turn Birkins into record breakers. The resale market has taken the Birkin to another level. Prestigious auction houses regularly feature rare Birkin bags that attract buyers from around the world. Limited edition designs, exotic crocodile leather, diamond-encrusted hardware, and discontinued colors often spark bidding wars among wealthy collectors. Some of these bags have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars, breaking world records and making headlines across the luxury industry. Every record-breaking sale reinforces the Birkin's reputation as one of the most valuable handbags ever created and strengthens demand for future collections. Why the Birkin will continue to matter. Despite changing fashion trends, the Birkin has remained relevant for more than 4 decades because it represents more than style. It represents achievement, rarity, and timeless luxury. Unlike many fashion items that lose popularity after a few seasons, the Birkin has become a cultural icon whose appeal spans generations. As long as people continue to value exclusivity and status, the Birkin is likely to remain one of the world's most desirable luxury products. The story of the Birkin reminds us that the greatest business success often comes from understanding people rather than products. Hermes recognized that customers weren't simply looking for a handbag. They were searching for something unique, meaningful, and difficult to obtain. By fulfilling that emotional desire, the company built a product that continues to define luxury around the world. I'm Dr. Bush. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more fascinating business breakdowns. Let us know in the comments which iconic brand you'd like us to uncover next. Thanks for watching, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next.